Due to much of SpaceX's news coverage centering on the groundbreaking Starship development and testing, it is easy to forget that the company still owns the most powerful rocket in operation. Making the situation worse is that the rocket, the Falcon Heavy, has been in hibernation for many months now. However, the slumber is about to end, as the Falcon Heavy will launch again in January. What is the Falcon Heavy launching, who is it launching for, and how tasking is it? Join us as we dive into how SpaceX is finally launching the Falcon Heavy in January. Don't forget to like this channel and tap on the notification icon to stay updated with our videos. Elon Musk is dreaming big with the Starship spacecraft his company is building. He has to dream really big because the expectations for the rocket are huge. However, SpaceX did not just skip to the point where it could build a rocket that could launch missions to Mars. The build-up to the present involved several other rockets. One of these rockets is the Falcon Heavy. Thanks to Falcon Heavy, SpaceX already has a taste of owning and operating the world's most powerful rocket. The Falcon Heavy is the most powerful operational rocket in the world. In fact, it is more than twice as powerful as the next rocket. It can lift into orbit nearly 64 metric tons or 141,000 pounds, handily beating the payload of the next closest operational vehicle, the Delta IV Heavy. The Falcon Heavy is composed of 3 Falcon 9 engine cores whose 27 Merlin engines together generate more than 5 million pounds of thrust at liftoff, equal to approximately 18 747 aircraft. When fully stacked, the Falcon Heavy is 70 meters tall, or about 23 stories tall, 12.2 meters wide, and weighs a whopping 1.5 million kilograms. Interestingly, some of the Starship's features can be traced to the Falcon Heavy. For example, the Starship is renowned for its reusability in both stages, meaning the upper and lower stages can fly again, significantly reducing launch costs. The Falcon Heavy is also reusable, although only in its first stage. The 3 boosters can land on the land or out in the sea. When SpaceX lands the booster at sea, they land on its collection of drone ships, which will then transport the boosters back to land. Landing at sea is more economical fuel-wise. The upper stage of the Falcon Heavy, which delivers the payload to orbit, is powered by a single Merlin engine, producing a thrust of 981 kilonewtons. SpaceX does not attempt to recover it, however, it retrieves the fairing housing the payload. It is 13 meters tall and 5.2 meters in diameter, providing ample space for the payload. The powerful Merlin engines produce lift from burning rocket-grade kerosene or RP-1 propellant. These Merlin engines are either the sea-level type, which the lower stage uses, or the vacuum type used on the upper stage. You can easily differentiate between the 2 types with the expansion nozzle on the vacuum Merlin, which is significantly larger to maximize the efficiency in the vacuum that is space. Also, the sea-level variants produce less thrust at 845 kilonewtons. However, as powerful as the Falcon Heavy is, it does not have many launches under its belt. SpaceX says the Falcon Heavy has only launched 3 times, resulting in 7 total landings of the boosters. The 3 launches have reused 4 boosters. You would have expected the world's most powerful rocket to be kept busy, but as you shall see, the lack of action is due to no fault of SpaceX. The first launch of the Falcon Heavy took place in February 2018, with Musk parting with his Tesla Roadster. The car was the sole payload on the highly anticipated launch, and it was sent on its way towards Mars. That direction is not insignificant, as Musk has always dreamed of sending people to Mars. 2 boosters landed successfully, but the third one had an engine malfunction and crashed into the sea. Expectations were high after the successful launch, watched by more than 100,000 spectators, including one of the first humans to walk on the moon, Buzz Aldrin. The third Falcon Heavy flight took place in June 2019 from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It was a nighttime flight and the first with a commercial payload, and the Falcon Heavy reused 2 boosters from the launch of the Arabsat 6A mission months earlier, which was its second launch. The customers included the US Air Force, the Department of Defense, NASA, and more. That launch deployed 24 different spacecraft into 3 different orbits, a complicated launch. SpaceX again lost 1 booster, but successfully caught the fairing. And that would be all the flight history of the world's most powerful rocket. The next launch was supposed to have launched a payload for the US Air Force, now reorganized as Space Force, earlier than the 4th quarter of 2020. However, the launch slipped into the 2nd quarter of 2021 without explanation. Even though SpaceX had already delivered the brand new 3 booster and upper stage meant for the mission, the launch was delayed again. 2 more slips would occur before the military would even as much as hint at the reason for all the delays. It said they were necessary to accommodate payload readiness. That more or less meant the companies building the payload were running into issues. The latest delay meant the next Falcon Heavy launch was pushed into 2022. However, all these delays mean SpaceX's launch calendar will be choking for 2022. For example, all Space Force's 3 launches are now crammed into 2022. These are the long-delayed USSF-44, the USSF-52, and the USSF-67. If there are no further delays, the USSF-44 will be SpaceX and Falcon Heavy's first operational US military launch and first direct geostationary or GEO launch, a mission profile that requires the rocket's upper stage to coast for about 6 hours through multiple radiation belts before reigniting at about 36,000 kilometers or 22,300 miles above the Earth. The USSF-52 is headed to an easier geostationary transfer orbit or GTO and is scheduled to launch on Falcon Heavy in Q2 2022. But there is no guarantee that it will not face delays. The last military launch for 2022 is the USSF-67, which will fly directly to GEO in the second half of 2022. Just like USSF-44, SpaceX will have to expend Falcon Heavy's center core during USSF-67 launch to give the upper stage enough performance for a direct GEO injection, while the rocket's 2 side boosters will land on separate drone ships in the Atlantic Ocean. However, SpaceX has other launch customers to satisfy with the Falcon Heavy during 2022. These customers include Astranis, a geostationary satellite communications startup. The company decided to move its first operational satellite launch from a SpaceX Falcon 9 to a Falcon Heavy, effectively securing the massive rocket its first commercial rideshare payload. Astranis wants to offer global communications services providers a different route to geostationary internet and broadcast solutions, similar to what SpaceX is doing with Starlink. Astranis is sharing the launch with Viasat, which had contracted SpaceX to launch its 6.4-ton or 14,100 pounds Viasat 3 and 400 kg or 900 pounds Aurora 4A satellites directly to geostationary orbit using the Falcon Heavy rocket. According to Astranis, sharing Viasat's launch will allow its own tiny satellite to begin operations over Alaska mere days or a few weeks after launch, saving months of orbit raising thanks to Falcon Heavy's performance. SpaceX's Falcon Heavy is also scheduled to launch NASA's Psyche asteroid explorer during a few-week window in August 22, marking the first of at least 3 NASA missions set to exploit the most capable and cost-effective deep space commercial launch vehicle in history. Beyond 2022, the Falcon Heavy has been tapped by NASA for its Europa Clipper launch. NASA had officially announced that it no longer planned to launch Europa Clipper on its own SLS rocket and would instead contract with SpaceX to send the spacecraft to Jupiter on a Falcon Heavy. In terms of sheer prestige, no other mission on Falcon Heavy's manifest comes close. Expected to weigh around 6 tons or 13,000 pounds, Europa Clipper is a building-sized spacecraft that aims to orbit Jupiter for years, performing dozens of flybys of the planet's icy moons, several of which have been suspected of containing liquid oceans. Significantly, NASA has given the okay for SpaceX to plan to launch Europa Clipper on a Falcon Heavy rocket with at least 2 of its 3 boosters being reused. SpaceX intends to reuse 2 Falcon Heavy side boosters scheduled to debut as early as next year on a different NASA mission. The mission is Psyche and is also scheduled to fly on Falcon Heavy. It will launch no earlier than August 2022 and is designed to explore an asteroid that's believed to be almost entirely composed of metal. However, unlike Psyche, which will leave plenty of margin for SpaceX to recover at least 2 of Falcon Heavy's 3 boosters, Europa Clipper will need to squeeze out every ounce of performance the rocket can give to send the much larger spacecraft much faster and further. If there are no significant changes, Falcon Heavy will launch Europa Clipper in an entirely expendable configuration. NASA agreeing to use used boosters with Europa Clipper means the space agency is already familiar with the reality that flight-proven hardware actually improves schedule confidence, which is crucial for a mission like Europa Clipper thanks to its 21-day launch window. Let's hear what you think of SpaceX's Falcon Heavy flying again in the comments section below. Also, like our channel and tap on the notification bell to not miss our videos.